Game 3. We'll see who forgets about him, or if he's banned out. Team Dignitas with the first selection. Rival have to ban him.
Have to. I'd be very surprised if they don't. But what do you let through? Do you let the Artemis through, or do you let the Hebo through?
Artemis.
I think you let Artemis through. Agreed. I think that you have more opportunity to play around that duo lane and still have vote be nice and safe and still be able to make it to the late game okay. I think that I would leave open Artemis, but Rival clearly feels differently.
Yeah, I think the Hebo, I think Qvo's Hebo has just proven to be unmessable. Like, what do you do against that? And I know that Dignitas are going to ban it themselves because they want to pick the Janus, I guess.
Yeah, but now Rival gets to ban Janus. That leaves Athena open, which Dignitas would obviously take. But I'd rather let them have Athena than have Janus at this point. Rival's going to make them choose by banning Thoth.
I like that strategy. I
don't mind it. I don't mind it. Dignitas had the option of Janus or Athena in game 1. They went with Athena, and they'll do it again here. Yeah. But I think that the way this set is developed, you kind of have to switch your prioritization, right?
Sure.
I think that Kalas has had phenomenal performance after phenomenal performance on Athena, and I think that if you're Dignitas, you're worried about Rival going Athena and X, whatever it is
right.
And then right before the second ban phase, picking Poseidon to do Athena Poseidon into the Janus, which really shuts down Janus' mobility. I think that's what Dig worries about here, but I don't know, man. Janus has been so critical in this set. I still feel like this went a little bit wrong for Dig.
Well, the Raijin is going to be the choice for Team Dignitas there in the middle lane. Athena in the Raijin, also not a bad look whatsoever.
No.
But the Hun Batsinator, and I think that you can't really ignore Hun Bats here.
No, Hun Bats is a solid pick here, and I think it's the right selection for Dignitas because I do think Rival would have banned it during the second ban phase. If I'm Rival here, I likely want to take something like Guan Yu, where you want to give Deathwalker something in that solo lane that he's going to feel comfortable on. Deathwalker seems to feel very strongly about certain matchups in the solo lane that isn't kind of widely known about, he feels like, oh, I won't play this god into this god when no one else is like, oh, that's horrible. He feels very strongly about some of those, so I wonder if that's what Dignitas is going to, or Rival rather, is going to ban away. I think I'm looking to keep variety off of Achilles, though, in this match, because he played so well on it and has for so long. I don't want him to get off to a big lead. I mean, he was ahead in that lane with Sobek. You give him Achilles, it's going to get even worse.
Wild choice here. I know you don't like to go too wild.
Here we go.
Variety solo. Cabrakan.
I think it's fine. That's not too wild. You're right.
All right, good. I would love to see a Cabrakan here. I think Cabrakan is the poor... Actually, just lock Odin. I think Cabrakan is the poor man's Odin, and I was springing up Cabrakan because I assumed we would see Odin banned in the second phase the way we've seen him banned in the second phase the entire time.
See, I think they are a little bit different here because Odin has no way to interrupt Talu Assault in lane, whereas Cabrakan does. 2 different ways. Very easily. Yeah. So you have a little bit more opportunity. Plus, Janus can get people out of Odin Ring very easily if it's anywhere near any wall. Basically shuts down every jungle cage. Now Chang'e, so Dignitas taking a little bit of a page out of NA's book. I really like this.
Yeah.
Now, Rival to me feels like a team that is kind of just waiting for a team to pick Chang'e, and they're going to go, this is why you don't pick this.
Sure.
But I don't know. I think it's a great selection here. For that same tokens, I think that Cerberus is a great selection here. It stops some of that healing coming from Chang'e, can punish those who dash aggressively, like in Athena. Look for Stygian Torment to be the immediate reaction to Trixtank dashing in every single one of these team fights.
I like the Chang'e. I think I would have preferred the Cabrakan or the Odin, but the Chang'e is certainly going to do work here. I'm looking for giant ultimates. Dignitas over here, certainly a mid to late game team composition. Chang'e, Hun, Batz, Raijin, these characters really got to get going. Ullr will provide some of the early game sustenance. Rival, on the other hand, same deal. They just want to go late. This is going to be a long game if both these teams have it going their way. Game number 1, I thought Dignitas clearly won the draft. Game number 2, I thought Rival clearly won the draft. Here in game 3, I feel we're kind of even.
Yes, I think Rival got away with the better draft simply because they have Janus, and I think he's that important in this particular matchup.
I feel that. However, I don't think this draft is super lopsided because of it. Are you leaning towards Rival just because of Janus?
Yes. It is like they are even, but the Janus is a little heavier for me.
I'll be straight. This isn't a cop-out, I swear. I just think both these drafts are very well suited for both of these teams. Specifically, if anybody's going to play around Rival's Janus, I think it's Dig with this draft. So this one is anybody's guess. Game 3, let's go.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Ryan. It's time for Game 3. What more could you ask for between Dignitas and Rival as the Chang'e is locked in? Cerberus to go head-to-head with that. We got some great picks here, but
good.
no Xbalanque. They took Ullr over that.
That is really surprising.
Yeah.
It was banned in game number 1.
That's right.
Let go completely in game number 2. No one picked or banned it. In game 3, still kind of forgotten about. Just
It's a pretty good
slept
ultimate
on.
he's gotten. I don't know.
Darkest of Nights is pretty good.
It's pretty good.
That's
Well,
like peekaboo.
Instead, they're going with the Ullr, though, so we'll see what kind of value they get out of that. And I'll get a chance to see who you think is going to win, Mixer Chat, once you vote for me and let me know. I promise I'll be desperately checking. I won't be. I don't know why I'm lying about that.
It's going to be a lot of aggression because of the Ullr pick. They purposely kind of neglected, I think, the Xbalanque, trying to get a lot of ability damage online, trying to get this early game.
Yes.
Avoiding the Janus, avoiding the Mercury damage in the late game, I think is the goal and intent for Dignitas.
They're going to be a very scary squad late game, this Dignitas draft that they've got, or rather the rival draft with iceicebaby. But they're already starting off. Trixtank is alone in mid lane. He was able to just barely dash away, costs him his sprint, but he is out of there.
I'm surprised that he got out of that one. He just narrowly walked through every little nook and cranny to find the clear path to dash away, but keep in mind, iceicebaby invested in his Mercury dash
delivery
at level 1, not the mage you look. It's going to take a little bit longer to clear some of these minions.
That's exactly what I was going to point out there, Tully. That's a big deal that iceicebaby is going to have to find some other way to clear these waves early on. Now, he will have Wlfy here for this speed buff camp, especially delivery does still hit. So, you know, it shouldn't be too bad, but not as good as made you look.
Real quick, can we look at what Deathwalker level? They're level 1.
Deathwalker.
Okay, I was wondering about that. I thought I saw him dash. If he got the Telu's Assault, that would have been enough damage to find the kill. The slow was negated by the early sprint from Trixtank anyway. Not only that, this dash is not going to help you clear the wave at level 1 as effectively as the Telu Assault. So that one ability cost Rival a first blood.
I'm really surprised that Rival are taking this early fight here in the lane. I got to think Athena or Ullr are happy to box it out here early, especially with the way that Ullr has the axe right into the bladed arrow early. And we saw them get the early poke advantage. And now it looks like they're even going to get the clear advantage, too.
And the thing is, Vote was not positioning himself to fully hit all 6 minions with those astral arrows. Arkkyl so accurate on these axes, and because of that early boxing win for Dignitas, Rival not able to clear the first wave, which they honestly should be able to do.
Looks like in the fan vote, Rival have swayed some people. They're 58%. I believe game 2 is 50-50 exactly, as Arkkyl continues to put the hurting on the Colossus here in the duo side of the map. Purple buff. Looks like it's still there. Can't tell. They don't have the buff yet, so they can go grab that. And it looks like that is indeed where they're on their way to do. And Vote and Colossus are too busy trying to clear those minions to stop this. So an early level 2 for Team Dig. They can come right back in and try and use those extra abilities to get some pressure.
Callus and Vote still a level 1. They are going to be struggling until iceicebaby makes some presence felt in the duo lane. Trixtank.
Oh, they're going in. They're jumped in aggressively, but the axe didn't land totally. That was all it took for that to end.
This time it's going to be the aggression from Rival because of the old minion wave. They had so many archers just kind of chipping away at Arkkyl. Axe will connect onto Vote. Shell being popped as well. Trixtank slowing down Callus, and that was all that was needed.
First blood goes the way of Arkkyl for Team Dignitas. Hail of arrows, just too good. Being level 2, just too good. Even through the shell, they're able to take down Rival. That's going to be much needed. That is the reason. This is why you're picking Ullr in the duo lane. Not for any other reason than because he's so good early, especially in these boxing matches. And Arkkyl kind of showing you why.
And the thing is also this tier 2 Transcendence Rush gives him just the additional physical power he needs to get these abilities to do slightly more damage. Dignitas on the board very early. Not able to really do the same thing with Xbalanque, and that's why they prioritized the Ullr with the Athena, trying to make that kind of play happen. Whether or not they would have found the kill, they would have been looking for some sort of bully potential.
They absolutely got what they were looking for. And you're right, you don't necessarily always have to actually get the kills. We do have a pause coming out. We'll get the players all ready to go for in just a moment. As long as you can force them back, you call it the TKO. I mean, you're still getting what you need from that. You know, you're still forcing them back and getting yourself a chance to go into the jungle or get some like wave clear they don't get.
And Dignitas with this early start, it's all about momentum, how these teams get off the ground. In game number 2, it was Callus that got the first blood. Granted, not the prime opportunity you want, but it gives the rest of his teammates the morale that they need to carry on their tasks moving forward.
Well, Dignitas off to a quick start. Have a little bit of a gold lead to go along with it as we ride along with Wlfy. Looks like we got everybody back in the game, so things should be good. You can see from on Dignitas, though, just on that left, they got both the purple buffs. They've been able to get the camp advantage, a little bit of farm over on top of Vote and Collis.
And with the purple buff invader originally, getting that level 2 marker is the only boost that they needed without any pressure from iceicebaby at level 2. The way he was able to do in the beginning of the game.
That's right.
In game 2, they just weren't able to turn that around on its head.
And they got to be careful because Ice is here and Wlfy. They went towards the red buff, but great poke Arkkyl put on the Collis just now. That's the Ullr tax, man, when that axe lands. But iceicebaby's charging the Sonic Boom. They got to be careful. He's rotating over, as is QvoFred. So good thing he's here. That is going to turn back iceicebaby, but they want to go for this purple buff. Dash into the taunt. Ice does get pulled back in, holds onto the beads. Through space and time comes out from Wlfy as well, and Dignitas drop the purple buff for now.
They're going to just try to bait somebody into this purple cove and use that Fear No Evil on the level 2 Khepri.
He's still level 2. That Cerberus is such a good target for Team Dignitas right now. The Fear No Evil comes out, they don't get the kill, but they force everyone back. They grab the purple buff for themselves, and now they can all head back over towards farming.
And that's such a good target to hit. Now, granted, honestly, Khepri's passive saving Callus's life there, because at level 2 Khepri, you're not getting that much health. As a Guardian, your per level health is about high 80s to low 100s. So considering it was level 2 as opposed to the level 4 Trixtank, missing about 170 to 200 health is a big deal.
It's crazy how far behind Collis already has fallen here on this Cerberus pick. He's going to need to find some farm to open this back up. And Arkkyl, happy to no longer have to split the wave. Now Trixtank's kind of free to rotate around a little bit and help this lead get even more out of control, as he's backing very likely to finish that Transcendence and get that stack in as soon as possible. No, he's going to back and finish off Boots.
A little surprised by that, honestly, because Tier 3 Transcendence is 1,400 gold. And that Warrior Tabi, it's more than 1,400 gold. So the fact that he would rather get the mobility means that he'd rather just look to zone at this point than stack. Not going to be playing the same passive way he was in game 1 and 2 when he was rushing the Devour Gauntlets and, you know, all right, you clear the wave, then I clear the wave. All right, you're done stacking, I'm done stacking, let's rinse and repeat. This time around, Arkkyl is going to be playing aggressively behind the enemy archers, looking for any sort of long-range poke.
And I like this adjustment because Arkkyl played Rama, I believe, in game 1 and 2. This time was finally taken away from him to give over to Vote for Rival. And he's made the adjustment cleanly over to this Ullr now and looked good on it early. They don't play the same by any means. Arkkyl is heavily ability-based here as Deathwalker's in trouble. QvoFred comes in. They stack the ultimates for maximum CC duration, but Deathwalker able to ride away on the horse and even the portal for good measure.
Just good jukes in general, shifting from the right to the left. Deathwalker was not only able to avoid the jump from QvoFred, but the defender of Olympics. Trixtank trying to make the play happen on the right side of the map, and you can expect more of this global pressure soon.
Wlfy in a little bit of trouble in the mid lane as well. QvoFred follows him through and finds another kill. They take down the mid lane mage. Ice has Sonic Boom charged, but is there a viable target? He doesn't have a charge anymore, just going to use the mage to look. Dignitas yet again get away with murder.
Doesn't want to go a little too deep there against Zyrhoes, who still has the Taiko drums. And against the Janus, the hard counters are Susanoo and Batz, just like that, because of the ability to follow them through the portal with the monkey bounce or that siphon.
Able to just blink right over to them. Exactly what we saw QvoFred do just now on the Bots and find himself a nice, easy kill. I initially thought that they were going to rotate over and try and cause some problems for Arkkyl after the big rotation to solo lane. Variety was there. They had Trixtank use Defender of Olympus to join as well. Instead, there's aggression on Trixtank in mid lane. Staging and Torment from Collis sets up iceicebaby to find the kill along with Wlfy.
Every single time, Trixtank is going to look for a dash, taunt, Stygian Torment is going to be the response answer. Feeling a little too frisky for his own good, this European support player out of Trixtank that has a lot of experience out of his belt. You would think that he would anticipate that kind of play, but trusting his mid laner Zyrhoes to follow up for the damage.
But here's the price for that, Toli. They let Arkkyl got this early lead. They now have allowed Collis to sort of catch up a little bit to Trixtank. He's only level 5 as opposed to the big level disparity, but now Arkyl's free to kind of zone Vote away from the wave, to be a bit of a bully here and extend his own lead a little bit further out over the Hunter.
I like what Deathwalker's doing. He dashes onto Variety just to apply some mini aggro damage so he can clump up the whole wave and clear it. with a full Tallow Assault, trading out all these basic attacks because Deathwalker has the meditation, and more importantly, he does it after the debuff from the heal from Variety is already faded away. He wants to get the full value out of the sustain.
At this point, Variety just doesn't have enough mana, and Deathwalker looks like recognizing it. They do have a deep ward down there, so he might know.
Variety has meditation, so even though it doesn't look like Variety has the mana, all he has to do is pop that active, get the Waxing Moon off, and look at this. QvoFred walks over. Deathwalker's wards is identified.
I think Deathwalker might have known that he was here anyways. QvoFred gets caught out by Collis. They certainly had communicated as Through Space and Time comes through, does land the stun. Defender of Olympus is here. Fear No Evil creates the space portal into the Sonic Boom. What a combination! iceicebaby takes down QvoFred. Zyrhoes rotates over, though. It helps Variety make this a 1-for-1 solo for jungler. iceicebaby, though, not done yet. He's looking towards the solo lane, but cannot find Trixtank, and everyone falls back.
Deathwalker trying to make something happen, but he dashes so aggressively that Zyrhoes was there waiting for the hot cleanup vote. Running away between his waves, wants to use some of those melee minions to intercept that axe out of Arkkyl. This level 10 Ullr with about 17 stacks in the Transcendence has a huge advantage.
It can be so frustrating when you're behind here in that hunter roll, and you can't find a way back through. Hail of arrows, and the auto attack's just too strong, but Iceice finally coming in to relieve some of this pressure. Major Look does not land. Special Delivery does. Beads come out. Our vote goes up in the air to land the snipes. Arkkyl just going to try and trade now with Iceice. He does! You've got to be kidding! iceicebaby, we'll see you later. Arkkyl handles the 1v2.
Wow, what a performance from Arkkyl. Now, credit to where credit is due. Arkkyl does win that trade very nicely, but Vote missing some key clutch snipes to save his jungler.
Now, he was expecting, I think, to have the special delivery time to be able to line those shots up, but Arkkyl does beat that out rather quickly and immediately mess that up. So now he's got to line those shots up without any setup. Still, you need to be able to hit them, but unable to. Arkkyl trades back out well with iceicebaby, and that is kind of the worst case scenario because you're begging your jungler to come help anyway, relieve that pressure, and now you've given your opposition another kill and your jungler is further behind.
And Vote is not in a position to win any of these boxing exchanges until he has Devil Gloves fully stacked, until he has the pick-me-up attack speed steroid, and this is where Arkkyl wants to fight, where he has both of his abilities almost maxed out, being able to win some of these boxing exchanges with his massive mana pool and his massive MP5 to just spam away at his leisure.
That's right. At 1 point in the 2, no points in the ultimate. He's leveling the 1 and the 3 right now, and you're definitely seeing it when he's up against iceicebaby, has the Transcendence and some of those stacks going too. Certainly was able to put the hurting on him with that bladed arrow.
Does a lot of damage in a short amount of cooldowns with 10% of the Transcendence. He might be working on more cooldown reduction depending on where he wants to go with that heavy mace, and has to also worry about jumping in from here on out because iceicebaby might be on the lookout to counter engage, especially with Wlfy's Through Space and Time.
Now, we're talking about how strong Ullr here is in the early game. This is, of course, where Ullr is strong. Now, obviously, Vote is going to be the superior hunter late. The question is Arkkyl going to be able to get far enough ahead on this Ullr pick to make Vote irrelevant? Well, elsewhere on the map, things are still very close. Wlfy a little bit ahead of Zyrhoes, Deathwalker right a little bit behind Variety, but the real problem is that QvoFred now has created a nice lead for himself over iceicebaby.
About a 2,000 goal lead for Dignitas and 11.5 minutes worth of play, 4-2. Read the kills, even getting some more experience under their belt. They're able to really start stretching some of these advantages around the neutral camps more than anything else. Zyrhoes able to just separate himself slightly away from Wlfy.
Collis over here on this side of the map now, just to provide some extra assistance if it's needed. We saw Dignitas a moment ago positioning around the Gold Fury as if they wanted to try and pull that, but at this point, they really still haven't, even with Arkkyl having this early lead. He doesn't have lifesteal. He can't just solo the Gold Fury by himself. He would definitely need someone there in support, which is another disadvantage as opposed to some of these other hunters who are going to be building the Ullr Devourer's Gauntlet.
It's all about the sustain potentially from Variety's Chang'e if you don't have any sort of Devil Glove stacks for yourself. But these two soul laners are very content with just kind of hanging out on the right side of the map, just being able to farm it up, sitting at level 12, both trying to get their second relics available. And once these two soul laners start making their presence felt, it's all about how grouped up each member individually is, because both Waxing Moon and Cavalry Charge can easily hit multiple members.
Collis is here, warding just over the wall, not really looking to take a jump just yet. Variety rotates in. Also doesn't take any damage. Dignitas might be ready to start moving towards the Gold Fury. All 5 members are on the left-hand side of the map now, Toli.
This is the Chang'e Bunny, which gave him the second shell relic, whereas not backing back to base yet is Deathwalker, still only sitting on the meditation.
Trixtank dashes in. QvoFred drops the Fear No Evil vote. Does make it up into the sky, but no one from Rival can force him back. Through space and time hits Arkkyl. He's going to have to leave. Sonic Boom cleans him up, but vote falls as well. Both hunters down. 2-man taunt comes in. QvoFred juking for his life, is able to jump back to safety. Now Zyrhoes is up on the taiko drums, trying to peel away, but you can't peel Deathwalker as he takes down Qvo.
Oh, it's going to be a 1-for-3, still chasing down some members. A nice meditation out of Deathwalker. Wlfy needs to use the threshold and the portals to get a little bit closer to Dignitas if they want to keep chasing those kills, but taking a step backwards, recollecting themselves, going for the Gold Fury. They don't have to worry about Zyrhoes' taiko drums.
It's only Variety and Zyrhoes here to try and deter this, and Deathwalker zoning them both away perfectly. Gold Fury should be going to Rival, and it's well earned. What a fight for them on that Tier 1 tower. They punished Dignitas for overcommitting into the Tier 1, trying to claim that 500 gold for the team. Arkkyl steps forward. Trixtank actually dashes in to the tower to create the space, and now Zyrhoes is in further trouble. His beads have to be used. iceicebaby deletes him. Variety rotates in, and Arkyl's here as well with a chance to try and get some recovery. Now Trixtank is joining the fray. Wlfy, though, has through space and time, and they're going to leave. They can't. They get taunted back in. Deathwalker gonna pay for it.
Great taunt, preventing at least someone out of Rival from escaping. First it was Dignitas going a little bit too deep. Now it's Rival feeling themselves out of that very early 14-minute Gold Fury, the quickest Gold Fury of the whole entire set.
And they can't be feeling themselves that much. That only brought the game back to even, really, and that's only even across the entire map. Arkkyl is still ahead of Vote right now. Tier 1 tower is still being pressured right now by Team Dignitas. So Rival can't get too far ahead of themselves, as now they're giving back up a lot of what they just earned.
And the way that whole play started was the aggression onto Vote, getting him up in the air. Everyone from Dignitas just kind of waiting for this Ram to land in the sky. And what happens, it was a nice through space and time from Wlfy, which clips out Arkkyl. Sonic Boom to end the life out of the Ullr player, and the rest of the team fight was easy pickings for Rival.
It's so crazy how big of a difference it makes that he hits the ultimate, because even if he doesn't hit Arkkyl, the ultimate's in the right spot for them to all come through and punish them, but because Arkyl's low, he has to jump back. He can't stick around and try to do damage in that fight. He has to reposition entirely. I mean, it's just crazy how important this Janus pick is. Aggro highlighted it on the desk. We just saw with that play why. I think that Wlfy's through space and time really did save that fight.
They crossed the beams between the through space and time and the sonic beam. Or the sonic boom, yeah, and that's all it was needed against this Ullr player that doesn't have the sustain during some of these team fights. So it's not like he could still reset, lifesteal it up, and or just get back in the action. He has to legitimately go back all the way to his fountain, whether or not he does.
Blink in from QvoFred. Defender Olympus, along with Fear No Evil, is going to force Arkkyl, not Arkkyl, but Vote up into the air. Collis is here through space and time, comes through, and QvoFred is the one that gets it this time. Trixtank gets controlled by the Stygian Torment, has to try and find an escape path. Zyrhoes is here with the Raijin. Collis takes a big bunch of burst damage. Taiko drums. Can he land the last hit? He does. Collis falls. 7-6 now.
Just not in time was the two soul laners swinging the fight, so the 4-on-4 goes Dignitas' way. A lot of burst damage from Zyrhoes that it wasn't even focused in that team fight. It was just a bunch of these supports. First it was Trixtank focused, after the Stygian Torment, and then immediately after it was Callus. Great amount of damage onto QvoFred, forcing out his beads after also getting clipped yet again by through space and time, but Dignitas walking away cleanly, have a 5-on-4.
QvoFred surviving there was so important as iceicebaby looks to hunt him down, no matter how far he has to run. Now the rest of Dig can come in for the collapse. They forced the blink from iceicebaby after QvoFred pinged out where he was, and Team Rival are finally going to fall back, but Team Dignitas respond to that aggression over on the dual lane. Really, they're the ones that blinked in onto Vote, but he's been so safe going up into the air and getting away from all that.
Definitely providing him a lot of airtime. It was Arkkyl that solos voted level 1 because of all that airtime when it was the Ram versus the Hachiman, where Vote was kind of feeling himself in game 1, but this time around Vote able to still show that his Ram is also pretty good as well, being able to survive. Can't say the same for Callus, unfortunately.
Well, now we come back to a little bit of parity here at Toli, where we can kind of take a look and back up. Trixtank is going with the Gauntlet of Thebes Sovereignty, but no Sovereignty here for Kalas. He went Sovereignty right into the Genji's Guard. He's got a little bit more magic defense early, but not doing that same aura for like what Trixtank's.
That's very true. There's no Gauntlet of Thebes for Kalas' side. It would be a little bit too late to stack up at this point with how much action has already been. 7-6, 18 minutes in. It's a lot faster than how the first game panned out, and so it's a good call. The fact that Kalas, he ignores going Gauntlet of Thebes. Would have liked to see him build it immediately after the boots the same way Trixtank did. But either way, he makes these adaptations necessary. Getting the Genji's Guard still gives him a little bit of cooldown reduction, 10% to be exact, and just a lot of MP5 to spam some of these abilities. You got a nice big boost of damage whenever Wlfy hits anybody with a portal/threshold, boosting up his own damage. And then you add a Ghastly Breath to the mix, reducing protections by 42. Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good to me. Now, remember, Kalas was pretty significantly behind early, so the choice not to go Gauntlet of Thebes might have been a response to that. It can be a bit slow if you're already behind, so just go Sovereignty in that slot, and Kalas ends up fine, and that's probably why he ends up making an adjustment, and it's a smart one. He's very relevant now. Level 12, still a little bit behind Trix, but very much able to be tanky. His Gold Fury's getting bursted. Ice is here. Made to look no chance. Variety controls him perfectly with the ultimate. Team Dignitas sneak away a Gold Fury.
Walking away cleanly from this one. The second Gold Fury of the game, but it's the first one for Dignitas. Still with a nice little advantage. Deathwalker, though, trying to go onto Trixtank as he eats the portal.
Looks like Deathwalker's going to take as much damage as he gave there. Good return damage from Team Dignitas. But yet again, that recognition of their burst at this stage in the game, this is one of those things Dignitas does so well. When those calls come out, they're all on it immediately, and they do it clean.
Between these two teams, they have so much sustain that any sort of poke that's not going to be all out committed for the kill, it's just going to be lackluster. You're basically trading your own mana resource for their mana resource. You're doing the damage, they're doing the healing. If you're going to back off, well, the enemy team is also going to back off to find the sustain. You got Dignitas on the Chang'e for variety, and Kalas is being focused.
Kalas gets hit by the Fear No Evil. Sonic Boom, though, hits Arkkyl, and Deathwalker's right there up under the horse to punish, though he jumped away over the wall. Zyrhoes is low now and needs some help. Thunder Crash gets him out of
Snipes.
there. Everyone else is still alive, but the snipes from
no.
Vote just barely don't line up. iceicebaby's here, but the two-man taunt goes up from Trixtank on the right-hand side. Wlfy takes down Arkkyl. There's just not enough support for the rest of the squad. Variety comes in with the ultimate, but can't find enough targets.
Can't find it much. Deathwalker dashing through. Vote takes out Trixtank's life. It's going to be a 4-on-3. Still, Rival going to regroup for the moment. Oh, that unstable vortex almost narrowly clipping out Zyrhoes. It was important for Variety to sit under the tier 1 tower with Zyrhoes to heal him up, making sure iceicebaby wasn't going to make that tier 1 tower dive. But because Variety committed to that babysitting, that team fight goes Rival's way, and they get a fire gen at 20 minutes in.
And they commit so heavily to Kalas that it ends up hurting them later on in that fight totally. Imagine having Fear No Evil once Team Rival starts funneling into that narrow corridor. Instead, it's used solely to try and take down Kalas early on in that fight. Rival would be okay with it going that way every single time. Just a little bit too much from Dig.
Just babysitting Zyrhoes a little bit too long allows Rival to eventually trickle into that team fight. They took out Arkyl's life very quickly. If he doesn't have the sustain from the Chang'e, he's not getting it from himself. He doesn't have Devo Gloves, no Blood Forge, no Asi for the lifesteal, so there needs to be more attention onto your Ullr player as well as your Raijin.
Very difficult to keep everyone alive here because Team Rivals engage. It feels so all in, doesn't it? Like when the Sonic Boom comes out and the cavalry charge is right there behind it from Guan. Wlfy, or not Wlfy, but Kalas does a great job with the Stygian Torment before he dies, trying to find any value he can as well. Their composition, it kind of feels like they all just do so much control at once to disorient the fight that it's hard for Dignitas to respond.
And with this all-in commitment, it's iceicebaby that's receiving the pure positivity. 5-1-1 is this late game Mercury without too much crit realistically. He does have the range, but it's not fully stacked, so only sitting at about that 30% marker. Trying to figure out if he wants to go between the Poison Star or the Wind Demon. And then once he sells that Assassin's Blessing, going to have even a bigger boost of critical strike bonus damage with a Deathbringer.
It's pretty good in Rage given 40%. Once it's
not
evolved.
too shabby.
That is not too shabby at all. And Mercury is always happy to have an item like that on his side, and he's going to be using that. Will iceicebaby to try and tip this game in his favor, because right now we are just about even, folks. I mean, what, a little bit less than 1,000 gold, not very much to write home about there at all. In fact, they want to try and push that even further in their favor by pushing this tier 1 tower. Meanwhile, Wlfy pushes alone on the duo side of the map. And Team Dignitas looks like don't want to defend on the tier 1.
They were thinking about it. They were positioned behind the tier 1 as if they were going to try to deter rival, but you can't really stop a Fire Giant team from getting at least a tier 1 tower.
Right.
And with Wlfy being a distraction on the left side of the map, QvoFred making his rotation, but he's not going to commit onto this one. He's just going to scare away Wlfy.
That was the idea there, really. Just get Wlfy to fall back. They took that tier 1 tower. Yeah, that's not too big a deal here 23 minutes into the game. But really, at this point, every game, it felt like, is when it started to tilt one way or another. This time, though, it's still very, very even. Rival have the Fire Giant, but they only have about a minute left. They haven't found anything too substantial with it yet.
Still getting at least 3 towers. All tier 1s out of Dignitas, stripped from the map. Rival with barely anything of a gold lead to write home about, but still going to look to position themselves on the right side. Kivo gets actually chunked a little bit by that unstable vortex as iceicebaby's looking for the collapse.
Yeah, this fight is so important, totally, because everything's balanced on a knife's edge right now. Defender of Olympus comes on the Quvo. I don't think he needed it. Now the tier 2 tower is going to come down. Rival do find a little bit more gold to add to their pockets, but no big fight ends up happening. So things stay still pretty close.
If I'm Dignitas, I'm still breathing easily,
yes,
considering that I haven't lost my Phoenixes yet at 24 minutes, despite Rival having Fire Giant, and we're delaying this push for as long as possible. Rival with Fire Giant still around their waist for another 25 seconds. A little worried about continuing with the towers, so they just get themselves a guaranteed gold fury.
I'll come back and grab. Looks like a moment like Team Dignitas wanted to come contest, but instead they're going to let this one go. Team Rival now have been able to earn for themselves about a 4,000 gold lead or so with that Fire Giant. Remember, they were down before it if you just go back, so that's about all that came from, about a 4,000 gold swing in their favor and a tier 2 tower in right.
Mostly 4,000 gold leads don't amount to much at 25 minutes, but at this point, with Fire Giant respawning in less than a minute, those extra sentry wards is the telltale sign of how one team tips the scale in their favors. As QvoFred just drops a regular ward under the Fire Giant pit. Looking at his consumable slots, he's still holding on to that sentry ward. He's waiting for someone from Rival to counter it, and then he'll look for the counter to the counter.
Team Dignitas are going to need to find better targets, though, for my money, totally, with these ultimates. We've seen a lot of commitment on the Collis, and they have punished Collis, but they got to make sure they're hitting some of these priority targets here in this next fight.
Trying to make it even happen onto Rival's side. They're grouping up. They're going to absorb some of this poke here. A little bit of a taunt onto Deathwalker, getting about half of his health pool.
And that's good.
QvoFred could have easily committed to that if he wanted to. He hit the monkey bounce onto Deathwalker. Could have teleported, dropped the Fear No Evil, maybe traded it out for a cavalry charge. But with Fire Giant respawning, Rival thinking about doing it.
Taunt from Trixtank doesn't land. They have enough follow-up damage without using their ultimate, so that if they can land a couple taunts and just take that poke or take that damage they get, they might be okay. Fear No Evil is so big in the team fights that QvoFred's got to be patient with it. He knows that a big Fear No Evil really can't change the whole fight as Collis gets pulled in. Stygian Torment has to be used. Tycho Drums is right there to follow up through space and time. Does come through. It looks like he can get some damage, but Dignitas have to go onto the retreat. Collis tries to come in to help push in for the rest of the team.
The Sonic
Boom hits everybody. Team Rival now have opened the fight up. Vote takes down one. Ice Ice finishes off Arkkyl. Zyrhoes is dead to rights as well. Collis takes that kill. Only Variety left standing. And Team Rival should be able to take the set. They blew the whole game wide open there, totally. What a fight in the jungle.
What just happened? One blink of an eye, and iceicebaby dives the backline from a distance. Vote hitting the snipes that was necessary. Zyrhoes getting completely surrounded, had nowhere to go, and Rival, after an abysmal game number 1, winning 2 and 3.
How do you shake a game 1 off like that? Well, just ask Team Rival, because those boys got it done. Game 3 and the set going over to the boys in purple. Excellent play from them. And Team Dignitas, we all know they're no slouches. They played excellently here, but Team Rival just found their opening. They just did such a great job capitalizing those narrative passageways using that Sonic Boom.
As good as Janus is, I think the Mercury is that much better. You have to be so mindful about these corridor fights. One Sonic Boom and then just the whole table gets flipped as Rival commands game number 3 with domination.
And I want to give Collis a ton of credit here. He fell so far behind early on and still managed to be relevant. And that's with him repeatedly being the target for them. Deathwalker and Collis made such a good front line that repeatedly Dig had to commit a lot onto them instead of the carries they really wanted.
It was the Guardian versus Guardian focus between both of these teams. The Stygian Torments would hit Trixtank, but the taunts would also hit Callus. There was a lot of follow-up damage from both sides, but the late game damage from the Sonic Boom and from Vote's Ram in that specific team fight is what really helped them win that one.
Well, who was your MVP there from the side of Team Rival as they grab the win in Game 3? You'll get to vote in the Mixer chat, and then we'll have our team go ahead and break down what happened for you in that set. Tom and Aggro, tell me what happened.
Well, Rival won that team fight. That's what happened. I mean, this was one.
Do you need me or?
No.
Okay. I'll just chill. Go ahead.
Yeah, all right. You know what? I'll give Aggro. I'll throw Aggro bones. So the last team fight seemed to be a big deal, but Rival. I mean, did it matter leading up to that team fight?
It did. I mean, that game was very, very close, even during that team fight. But this is where that mobility comes into play. I mean, Wlfy stops the team fight from really happening because he gives such a great avenue for Rival to chase down Dignitas, and Dig go, oh, we can't really fight into this, so let's back it up a little bit. And then iceicebaby just comes screaming right down Broad Street to steal something from you, if you will. And he just has the perfect ultimate, nowhere for Dignitas to go after that.
That's actually really, 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 really funny. So Broadway, right down Broadway is like
whatever.
the phrase.
Yeah, I got mixed up between Main Street and Broadway. You know, I got there.
No. It's funnier because you acknowledged me, and Broad Street is the cross street of the block that I grew up on.
Well, I knew that.
No, you didn't.
Sure I did. I've been watching that camera for 2 years.
Aggro's a little bit weird.
What do you mean?
iceicebaby, MVP.
Well deserved. This dude, his Mercury has continued to get better and better and just be an absolute nightmare for basically any team that Rival goes up against. And it's something that I think that Rival really needed during the summer split, where they come out a little bit flat. They aren't looking that exciting. You know, they're just kind of doing their thing, but it's just Rival stuff. They need that new little wrinkle. And I think this Mercury, where iceicebaby just gets to get a pick and go, I'm winning this game now, kind of by myself.
Yeah.
And there's not a whole lot you can do about it. It's something that Rival was kind of lacking. They were the team, the teamwork squad.
Sure.
They did it as a unit. So if you shut down a couple of them, then no one was going to really be able to step up and make those big time plays. This is a big time plays sort of god for iceicebaby, and he's doing it with it. I think he's doing a great job.
Don't forget his performance at the Spring LAN. I mean, that I think was sort of the Ice was the standout. Rival played well, but definitely looked like a different squad led by this iceicebaby. I kept asking the team questions about that, and they were like, I don't know. Ice is just hot right now. And so continuing that streak, the Mercury was a great choice. I think this is a great period to have a strong jungler along the way. So we just had a brief conversation about this match, but if you want a more in-depth conversation, one that features Hindu or Taco, you can join us every Monday at 10 a.m.
You'll also get to hear from yourself and Finch at times. Oh, Finch. Yeah, Finch is going to be there. It's can't really help it, but it's for the best. Trust me. Yeah, it is. It's worth it. It is. It's worth it. Trust. Tune in. It's a lot of fun.
Watching it is worth it. I don't know if dealing with Finch is worth it.
Well, you don't have to deal with Finch if you're just watching.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so go ahead and watch.
Hey, what are you doing in a little bit? Like the next 20 minutes.
I'm pretty free. I don't know. What do you want to do?
Well, Space Station Gaming is going to be playing United. You want to watch with me?
Yeah, that sounds fun. Let's do that.
All right, sweet. We'll be right back in just a little bit. We're going to go watch the game. Hope you can join us. Thanks for watching.
Put the place up, yeah, we know what we made of. Can't get enough of you, fool, I'm a chaser. Face up, now I feel a little major. Link up and out, ego, I'ma take her, shake her. Yeah, she was a ball shaker, she shake me out that door to no place. Damn, why you doing all that? She was my wife, please snap me in the back. Sounded like a road when we came out there, we settled facts like the Vinci. I'm breaking codes, so break it back, come on. Put the place up, yeah, we know what we